All right. So,
AlbertaWade.
this is number 4, right? Quadro. Okay. My friend Hubert Aumeier. Evelyn's Cafe. I probably have that wrong.
Yeah.
Evelyn's Memory Cafe?
Evelyn's Memory Lane, yeah.
Evelyn's Memory Lane Cafe. Right. Owner in downtown.
High River.
In the heart of High River. I've had the pleasure to get to know Hubert a little bit over the last few years. I know he has an interesting journey that has led you to High River. Somehow you got here. I don't know. We're hopefully going to find out. We're going to find out today. And I think you've done a real service to our community with your little restaurant downtown. I love that place.
Thank you.
I think everybody loves it.
We love to be there.
And great food and fantastic staff. And welcome to the show. So right. I guess I'd like to, we got to.
Wait.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Thanks for making the trip all the way over here.
Well, thanks for having me here. It's really exciting.
It was close. So I want to hear all about where did you learn to cook? Because you're like probably the best cook in High River. I'm going to say right now. Other than...
we provide just nice food.
Exactly. So where did it all start, Hubert?
Well, it started all on the farm, I guess. Take it from there. Then we go along. I grew up on a kind of an organic farm back then. My parents believed in not using any chemicals, and food was always a big part of everything the whole year, harvesting and planting and eating off the land, and so they
absolutely,
And I think a big impact was my grandmother and their aunts, especially in the fall. They all came, and then it was always a big feast and harvesting and cooking and plucking the geese and eating them and so forth, and using everything. I think that was a vital part.
That's something we don't do enough of these days.
No, we used everything of the animal, of the crop, and so forth, and then the bottling of product and canning it, and so the whole year was about food. Everything was always about food. And in the summer, we ate outside under the big apple tree, with our lunches there, and then back to work. It sounds a little romantic, but it was hard work for us kids.
Totally, because that's when, in those days, you weren't playing video games and you were watching TV. You weren't goofing off.
Our game was on the field.
If you didn't help, the family wouldn't make it through the winter.
Oh, the kids were labor, basically, right?
Cheap labor.
Look after the animals, and then basically the farm too. We had over 200 fruit trees in the yard.
Beautiful. Apples,
plums, pears, everything, right? And sold them off the farm, basically. That's how it started. So as you grow older and then become kind of looking for we have the apprenticeship system in Germany, right? So you go to school and you go to learn your trade with hopefully a decent restaurant.
Yes.
And I got into a place outside of Munich, in the outskirts of Munich, which was very unique at that time. It was just a restaurant, no hotel. Everybody kind of learned to trade in a hotel. But this guy had a really cool setup. Everything was made fresh and kind of... I think he was his time way ahead.
He was a forward thinker at that time. Yeah.
And we had like maybe 100-seat restaurant, but there was like 15 chefs, right? And pastry chefs.
It's big, right?
Yeah. He had an amazing amount of staff, right? Everything was done from scratch and fresh cooked and so forth, right? And I got into there, and I remember still the day when I applied for him. My parents brought me there. They were all nervous, right? He said, "Okay, you guys sit in the garden and eat, and we two have a chat," right? I was 15 years old, nervous, And he said, "Well, you look pretty strong to me." He said, "You can start Monday."
Because I need a strong back.
You need to carry all
the groceries in and back and forth.
Beef and everything around, right? So you start Monday and get some decent knives and chef outfit and clothing. And here I was. I took my bicycle and pedaled out there 35 kilometers for my first day. And I had a room and board there.
Oh, the first day was a big
first
trip.
Getting there.
Okay.
And that was a big impact on the whole trade, I think, right? Because great friendships were formed, great food being served, always entertaining, always promotions about something. Constantly. And
you're putting the Hollywood to people at that place.
Kind of. It was hard, it was hard work. Like we boned out our own half sides of beef and veal and pork and so forth. So because the owner wanted you to know that. So that was part. He said, how can you build from something if you don't know the basics? Right?
The steaks didn't come from the store. They come off the bone. They're right off the animal. Yeah, that's perfect.
No foil bag to cut open, right? So
that's great. Yeah.
So yeah, that's
was it a summer job or when you're 15 you started?
You started 3 years.
Yeah, 3
years. Once a week school, and then for 5 to 6 days, depends on how busy it was back on the shop, right?
That's wild.
Good. That's good. So that was the apprenticeship, and then 3 years later, I got a little. I wanted to get out of there.
Time to move on.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we had a magazine. A newspaper came out once a week, and they advertised hotel jobs. And my brother used to work all over the world too, right? Back then in Africa and in Iran and all over in Switzerland. And he said, "Oh, that's a good job here. That hotel like Gstaad in Switzerland, I know. Why are you going to bring you there?" So we applied and got the job, and he drove me up in his little car. There was no freeways back then, so it was all country road, right? 8 hours, sore back. And I got the job there. Yeah, I got the job in Switzerland, and then a whole different league opened up again, like way different what we did in Germany, right? Much more quality.
Bigger and better, or just
better,
or just totally sideways.
Just different and quality only, right? Quality and high end, and again classic French cooking, right? There was no fusion back then. There was no.
It was very strict, classic,
very
French.
Strict. Everything had a name, right? So every type of how to cook a vegetable had a name, right? So he just wrote down tomato, this and that, and then you knew, okay, those are the steps, and those are the seasonings, and those are the
heavy-duty sauces.
You had to know
the sauces.
Yeah.
Is that French?
Butter and cream, my friend.
Yeah, more butter, more cream.
If you don't have cream, use butter.
Or switch it back and forth. Yeah.
So that's the Swiss years were pretty neat, and then they kind of passed you around, right? The summer season was over. What are you going to do? Well, you want to work in the winter season? Yeah, okay. I phoned my friend. So they found another chef, another hotel in the mountains, right?
Get on the ski hill.
Yeah. And
or the Alps.
Pack your things, and you're in St. Moritz the next 4 months, right?
Yeah. Bring your knives.
That's right.
Exciting. Off the next mission.
And you grow into that kind of mode, right? You form friendships, and you see the quality. I always aimed for like top hotels because kind of eager to move on, right? Mm-hmm. So you need knowledge in order to move on. Good
stepping stones if you want to become the best one day.
Yeah. And the desire to move around and to I had no time to wait another year or two or whatever. I just wanted to move on and see different hotels and different styles and gain the experience. So I met a buddy there, Fred. He was a Swiss guy, and we shared a room. And so we worked on Lake Geneva together for the first time in the Beau Rivage Hotel in Lausanne. Beautiful hotel, big hotel. And the two of us kind of worked in the same shift there. We were first vegetable section, and then roast. Everything was divided up, you see. Like there was only vegetable chefs, and then only rotisserie, only in charge of rotisserie, and guys only in charge of boning or fish cooking.
So you had to be good at it after a while.
You had to be good at your thing, right? And then maybe a couple of months later, they said, "Oh, okay, you go into the cold kitchen, you make pâtés and terrines and things like that." Everything was handmade back then. There was no convenience.
Terrines, yeah. You don't see those every day around here, do you?
And there was no day off. You want a day off?
Are you kidding me?
Off? Oh, you want a day off? Okay.
Yeah, take the rest of the year off.
I don't know.
You want an hour off? Well, you might as well take the rest of your life
tomorrow
off.
You can sleep in, but you'll be back at 2 p.m. right for the night shift.
Yeah.
So you dare not step on anybody.
No.
The seasons were 4 months usually, 3 to 4 months, and then you work those non-stop. End of story.
Oh, and then it would peter off.
Yeah, and then you're done for like 6 weeks, right?
So it wasn't that bad.
No, it was fun.
You're young.
We enjoyed it. Yeah, I was
young. And you're young.
So Fred and I moved on. Lake season, summer season was over. We moved into the winter season. St. Moritz usually we did twice there, and then suddenly we read in the newspaper, pastry chefs wanted for Canada, and we debated it. I said, should we go to Canada instead of tingling around here all the time like gypsies, right? Like from one,
yeah,
So we were 21 years old and we applied. the old-fashioned way in writing.
A letter.
Letter.
Wow.
Then they came to the embassy there in Switzerland, in Bern, and interviewed us. And off we went. They said it couldn't be that bad. Couldn't be that bad. Like we can see Canada for 6 months, and the government paid for the flights back then because there weren't any chefs in Alberta in the 70s.
They had a program set up
Importing
to get people over
import
here.
those
Yeah.
kids, right?
Yeah.
And there was lots of workers for the kitchen, but there weren't any trained department heads. Especially in Jasper Park Lodge, like there was again about 115 or 118 cooks working there back then, right?
At the Jasper Park Lodge.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot to me, but yeah.
Oh God, it was big. It was big. It was scary.
I've been there a few times. I went to my buddy got married there, and then I went there just on another trip for some reason, but I don't really remember. But that's a beautiful place.
It's a beautiful place.
Where that lake is, right?
It's right.
Yeah.
Lake Beauvoir, yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
It was beautiful. Yeah. They shipped us in and out. Oh, there's a lot of young people traveling on the train in Canada, right?
Yeah.
Then we reached Jasper and everybody got off. Then I realized they all work at the lodge for the summer.
You just met all your coworkers on the ride there. That's funny.
Yeah.
So that's a nice place, a special place up
Jasper
there.
Park Lodge was a big impact. You're young and you come to Canada and basically you work in the nicest, finest places there can be, right in the Rockies, and then
Was it a CP hotel back then?
No, a CN.
CN. Okay. Now they're Fairmonts.
That's right. Yeah,
That's right.
The CN hotel. Yeah, the McDonald in Edmonton, and then
Fairmont here.
Queen Elizabeth in Montreal.
Or the Palliser here. I mean, sorry.
Palliser in Calgary. Hotel Vancouver in Vancouver. It was
And
only
then
like
the one in Victoria.
railway hotels,
Yeah, yeah.
basically, right? Yeah. Yeah, there was a different ballgame there.
Totally.
It was quantity. 600 barbecue tomorrow, 1,100 dinners.
Really?
Yeah.
That big. I didn't know it was that big.
Yeah, back then they operated a little different. They had 6 weeks like.
Do they have a
convention
cattle
season.
ranch in the back
Oh,
for
God.
beef and gardens? And where did they get all the food? Where did they get all the
Trucked
product?
in. Everything was trucked in.
Just trucker in there.
Yeah, every 2 days, big semi pulled in. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was an eye opener. You come from a little Swiss hotel, and
Where everything you got locally, right?
locally,
Probably then.
and cutting 10 steaks, and you have maybe 20 dinners that night, or maybe 35 dinners, right?
To 1,000.
And then you come there and he said, cut those damn 600 ribeyes, go, go, go.
You're like,
Fire
what?
up the bandsaw.
You're like, what? Fire up the chainsaw.
But, it was pretty cool, and you learn about how to deal with efficiency.
Big time, right?
Yeah, big time. That was from my learning focus there, efficiency.
Yeah, you can cut
Get
a
those
lot of
numbers.
fat off the hog, as we say. We got to get better.
Yes.
We got to get really
You
good
got
at
really
this.
good at it,
We need to get really good at doing this because we
Yeah.
only have so much time. And we only have so much help.
And Jasper was just nice, we have a bunch of guys, and you can go out on the lake, and you had like your barbecues, and total new lifestyle for us, right? Yeah. And we said, oh no, we're not gonna go back to Europe, right? But we had to.
You're on the
unfortunately.
other side of the world. It'd be like me
So
going to
different.
Japan to
So
weld
different.
for
So
a
different.
few days. Yeah, it'd be totally crazy.
Yeah, that was pretty nice. Jasper was nice, and we meet people. Still have friends up there. And out of that season, the first season in '77, there's still a lot of people living up there. Out of that season, still in Jasper.
1977 is when you went there.
That's the first season, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
cool.
the winter we had to go back because we only had a summer permit, work permit back then. And then we both worked one season in Switzerland again. And then for the
And then you
season,
wrote another letter.
for
then
the
put
season
it in the mail.
79 we applied again, Canada. And Horst Plaster was the food and beverage manager who interviewed us. He was a German guy. He ran all the food and beverage department. And I said, well, if I take the job. I was a little gutsy, I said, I take the job if I get landed immigration, like a landed immigrant.
Mm-hmm.
I want to immigrate. He said, oh, if that's all it takes, he said, you got it. And I had the immigration. There was only one piece of paper. I still have it. It's a yellow piece of paper.
Yeah.
One sheet,
Now it'd take years
years and a few pounds of paperwork.
and a bag full of money.
And I was so happy when it was stamped in Montreal, landed in Mirabel. You're in.
You're
man.
in. You're in, man.
Off to Jasper.
Perfect.
Yeah, that was pretty good, yeah.
totally cool.
So we stayed, and how things go on. You plan, maybe you stay a few years, but then you buy a house. We bought a house, right? Because housing was not good in Jasper, like staff accommodation.
Rentals and all that.
Rental was difficult.
Just buy one. Just bite the bullet and buy one.
We gambled and we got to bite the bullet and bought a house. Right? Then you stay, right? And do a few other jobs.
In 77, how many people do you think actually live there? Would be many, wouldn't there?
In Jasper? Or in the lodge?
No, in Jasper, the town itself.
Oh.
Like 1,000?
Yeah, 1,500 maybe, I guess.
Did you ever know those guys?
2,000 maybe.
Did you ever know the guys that had the buses and cabs and the taxi cabs up there?
Yeah, Brewster's.
Yeah.
Brewster's, Icefield Tours.
Give me a minute. It'll come to me. I'll think about it a bit. I know the guy.
Andrews. No? George Andrews.
Wilson, Kerry Wilson.
Yes.
Remember him?
Yep.
Yeah. I just met him a couple years ago. Great guy. He's a drilling rig.
Jasper
he does drilling rigs.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Jasper is an unbelievable community. I think a lot of people, a lot of Albertans maybe not even know that, right? Or don't go there because it's so out of the way.
It's a long ways away.
It's a long haul from Edmonton. It's 5-6 hours from Calgary, right?
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful, tight-knit community. Some of the best friendships formed there. Great living. All the lakes are around town, and great for outdoor sport, for hiking. I did a lot of paddling there, right, and canoeing, and just a super balance between work and of course in Canada we only worked 8 hours. It was unionized back then. 8 hours, maybe 8.5. You were done.
You must have thought it was a full-time holiday when you were working here.
We were in heaven, right? None of this is like halfway and then come back and another night shift.
Work 12 hours and then come back.
Yeah.
Go have supper and then come back for another 6.
And we got paid well, and
Things were good.
Had a little Volkswagen, and it cost me $4.95 to fill it up. I made $5 an hour, and I said, it doesn't even take 1 hour to work to fill the thing up.
Things are looking good.
Things are looking up.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
totally awesome. I'm worried about that mic falling out.
I'm sorry.
No,
Are we better now? I'm so sorry. I didn't
just don't
notice
want
it.
To fall. They're cheap mics. I cheaped out.
It's a start.
I wanted to. Where did you go to school for when you initially went for culinary, like formal culinary training? Where did you go to school?
That was my apprenticeship.
Okay, that was it. Okay,
so that's how it worked. Like you had work, and then one day a week you went to school.
I got you. So you basically already told us that.
That's so my boss back then, of course, wanted us to be the best in school, right?
Yeah.
So he sat us down also one afternoon internally, and worked us through all those steps, right? Theory, seafood, what kind of fish are there? Are there flat fish, white fish, fat fish, skinny fish, all these things. He worked every week, whatever the topic was in school, he would enforce it in the shop. And he bought the things and we cooked it as a special, right? He said, we never had a halibut, let's get a halibut or a turbot or whatever. We take it apart and we fillet it and we cook it and we make a special, and you learn how to make a fish stock with the bones and
so that
the
guy
whole 9
must have
yards.
been.
He was a cool guy, a mentor.
Total mentor. Would he been the biggest influence?
Yeah, big
in
influence.
Your whole career.
Maybe not right there then, because you're young and it's like slave labor, You don't
understand how good you have it.
Exactly. Yeah. And then later, when you worked in Switzerland and in other hotels, you realized, oh man, we did that when I was in apprenticeship.
That guy was actually teaching us shit that we need to know.
I have that skill already. Yeah. And then I moved up fast because I had all these foundation already, right?
And the guys you're working for down the road, they're like, this guy actually knows so.
Exactly, right? That was a big advantage. Those 3 years was really good, right?
That's cool.
So, and then you had to do your exam right after 3 years. Theory, one was one thing, of course. And then cooking was very interesting. So they gave you had to draw cards. And on those cards were components, and then you had to make a meal out of that, right? In like 4 hours.
They have TV shows like that now.
Yeah, now they have
Test Kitchen or
something. We had it live. No warning.
There's no editing.
No editing. It was live. And yeah, that was pretty nice. Pretty. But you know what? It puts you on the go all the time. You have to be sharp all the time, right? You have to.
It's good to have to be sharp because then you're always always ready.
You pull, for example, chicken, right? Or you pull trout. So then you have to write a menu. How do I put the trout? How do I cook it? You have to think about it. Oh, how much time do I have? Do I skin it, or do I cook it whole, or do I grill it, or what kind of vegetables?
Yeah.
So you have to submit that ahead of the game. And then they gave you the material you ordered, and then you said, okay, cook the meal, buddy.
Sometimes when I cook things, like we're talking beef cheeks before we started recording, that takes me all day.
You love to cook. You know what it's all about. I cook
for 8 to 10 hours.
But you can have a glass of wine with it.
Oh, yeah, or two. I think the longer it takes to make something,
the more
it might be better. But I also know that some things only take 2 seconds to make, and they're also equally.
It all depends, right?
It depends.
We live in a world where everything is push button on apps and all that, and we forget that, like beef cheeks, it takes a few hours to braise slowly the onions and caramel.
Or a shoulder of lamb.
Shoulder.
It takes a long time to cook.
And it
4
tastes
hours,
better.
I think.
And it just tastes different, right?
Yeah.
And if you're in a hurry, okay, you have a chunk of bread and cheese or whatever. Right? You know.
Something quick.
But you appreciate the food.
Sushi. I think sushi is the best lunch ever. It's quick. Nobody had to cook it. The rice, I guess. But they did that in the morning. What was...
Where we go from here?
I don't know. There's so many questions I got for you. And only so much
So
time.
that was the Swiss area was more. I worked only in the 5-star hotels there in Switzerland, right?
That was
my goal. Because
was there 5 stars, and then was there Michelin's, or was Michelin's come after that, or were Michelin's?
No,
did they care about Michelin's back then?
Not really, no.
Not really. Okay.
You know, it was just classic French, right? People lived in a hotel for months or for weeks in the winter, right? We had guests. They just bunker in, right? 3 months, Mr. So-and-so or whatever, Mr. Couples or whatever. They had their own driver and what. So and again, the Souvretta house is in St. Moritz, and I got a job there. I worked in the cold kitchen, just making appetizers, and that was just an amazing hotel for me to learn later when I go into management, right? So I absorbed all those. I always even tell now the kids sometimes, you have to be like a video camera. Always scan the situations and learn and register it, right? And park it somewhere. You may use that information or that skill later or whatever.
Totally.
Right? And the Souvretta was a tough job also, not much skiing, but it was tough, but amazingly creative. And also the services in the hotel. Like we had valet parking, pick you up at the private airport. We had underground car wash for the guests.
A pillow menu.
Everything.
Probably.
Pillow menu. Back then already, right? Everything. Those guys, there was no computers like we have it now, I mean.
I suppose.
Right? With tracing things. But
how do they remember?
They had an index card on customers. Oh, wait, last time he had this wine, he read that book.
He wanted a buckwheat pillow. He liked the good red wine. He liked a dry martini at happy hour. On and on it goes.
And it was in your room when you checked in. Needless to say.
Just the way it should
be. They knew
be.
it, how to separate you from your money.
How to get that money out of your pocket.
It was good. It was a slick operation. I enjoyed working there. It was really cool.
I bet.
And then Switzerland, Canada, and Canada, of course, was one season, right? So then we went back and immigrated to Jasper. And Jasper, it was a whole different start, right? And after a while, it got a little too tight for me in Jasper. Right? I lived there for 10 years.
That's a good run anywhere. 10 years anywhere is that's a long time.
And so after Jasper, I always knew I wanted to be out of the kitchen technically with about 35 max, right? Because I saw so many chefs are burned out or
crash and burn
or alcohol issues, right? And I thought, I don't want to go there. I don't want to be there, right? And
that'd be a great thing to avoid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally.
Yes. And then I had an opportunity to go into a partnership in Jasper. I had a big mouth back then, young and go. And this guy was looking for a chef, and I said, yeah, I'll cook for you, but I want some commission here. I want some percentage on.
I need cash on the dash.
25% here of ownership or whatever, right? He said, okay, put the money where the mouth is, and you're in.
Where your big mouth is.
25%, you're in, partner.
Yeah, perfect.
And so we did that for a couple of years, 3-4 years, right? again, great location, good to make money, pay off the house a little bit, things like that. And then when I got out, then the time came, education. Now you have to deal with your better education for down the road, right? And but the marmot was pretty cool. And this guy, the owner, was Paul Gallant. He was the owner, and he, again, a mentor in many ways, right? He had all those tricks up his sleeve. He had all the tricks.
Steak and lobster guy?
Yeah. He says, and a main course was maybe around $8 back then, a New York steak, right? That was expensive.
Really nice meal.
Yeah.
$8.
Yeah. Trout, $6.50 for dinner, right? All those things. And he said, the skiers are coming, buy those lobsters. Buy a case of lobsters.
I know, they want them.
They want them. $25 a crack, steak and lobster, right?
Triple what New York's worth.
And And I said, I'm worried about my food cost. I'm worried. He said, don't worry about it. We sell them. And he would just, one table, 4 steak and lobsters. The bills just came in like that, the orders, right? 4 steak and lobster, 2 steak and lobster.
Put him on that.
And he just loved it, right? And then I learned a lot about, little tricks like, he said, why you give the first table always a bottle of wine on the window? He said, well, everybody walks by them. They get the message. They won't have
We're
Coke
drinking
tonight.
wine tonight.
Yes.
Everybody's drinking wine.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great. That's great.
And all those things helped me later when I was GM, right, in the hotels and things like that.
That one. That's a trade secret you just give away.
And so after a few years, I got a little the troubled bug, kept acting up and would do something, and I bought out, I sold out, and used the money to educate myself. And I applied in 2 schools in Europe. One was the Lausanne Hotel School. I always shot for the best,
Hotel management school kind of thing?
In Lausanne, Switzerland, yeah. They do an English course because I don't speak well enough French, right? So they do a summer English course. So I applied for the English management course, and then I applied for my chef's master degree as well in Germany in the school.
Sweet.
And both accepted me.
Uh-oh.
The same year. But they had so I was 2 weeks in between, And I said, and then my girlfriend back then, she was really great. I have to say, she said, yeah, go for it. She said, you never know. Go for it. If you think you can hack it, deal with it.
Just do it.
So I went and then did the first section in Switzerland, and then visit my mom in between, and then did the master degree in Germany. It was
a master's degree. That must be something, eh?
Oh, God, 33 years old, back to school. I couldn't sit still for 10 minutes.
Back to school at 33. Yeah, it'd be tough.
But it was good. It was good. And my professor, they said, guys, pull it through. You're only 24 in the class, accepted. By the time we're done, there's only 16.
Yeah, there's a few who won't be here at the end of the day.
Few of won't be here anymore, And nobody will check your grades ever. They just want to know, did you made it with me?
You made it through here.
Or not, right? And that's what you have to focus on.
Did you got the ticket or not?
That's right.
Yeah.
He
Green jacket, gold jacket.
That's
as long
right.
as he got the jacket.
Yeah, he was a good guy. Yeah. It was good. And they had all professionals in, and they brought people in from like outside, right? They brought hotel managers from London, or they brought a housekeeping professional from a fancy hotel in Germany, just to teach us the real things, the real issues, right? Not just the book.
The little tiny tidbits that you need to know to be
the fine
best.
tuning.
Yeah.
Then get out there, fine tuning. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, then hotel school was good, and so then what are you gonna do, right? Now you have all this education, but you need a job.
All of a sudden, you're way smarter than you used to be.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do now?
What are you gonna do? So we got back to Jasper, and there was no work back then, right? There was no work.
1981,
87, 86 or 86. Not much work there. Just a small community, right?
Right.
And then the school contacted me and they said, well, would you like to go to Taiwan and cook there, right? And you all the honcho now, I have papers, master, whatever, right? I said,
you're like, not another cold day in my life, eh?
That's right. So I said, oh, Taiwan, that sounds good. Yeah, sure. It was this brown phone we had in the kitchen, right? And then rotary dial, and it rang, and there's this guy calling from Hong Kong, and I said, we need somebody to go to, to Taiwan.
We need it here next week or a couple of weeks, or.
And then I said, how long? 2 weeks? I said, well, I'll be there. gave 2 weeks notice and off I went, But I forgot something in between. In between, I worked 1 year in China from Jasper, right? And again, it was just a cold shot, right? I saw this ad. We're looking for a sous chef, a number 2 chef, to go to open a hotel in Beijing.
Nice.
And China was like deepest communism back then, right?
It was red.
It was redder than red, And there was only one flight a week from Hong Kong.
Red diaper babies everywhere.
Oh God, And then I was the baby. We were camping that weekend. I said, well, should I go? I really like to go. I like to go to the unusual places.
Totally.
And my girlfriend said, yeah, go. You find out. Nobody can tell you that.
You'll know
find
when
out
you
soon,
get there.
right? You will know when you get
right
there.
away.
So then you made a good decision or a bad one, but only you're going to know, right? Yeah. So why didn't you go? So I flew off, I flew off. 2 weeks later, it was in August 1st. I was in China.
So one thing, you didn't speak any Chinese, I bet.
No, not a word.
Did you pick it up?
No.
How do you communicate with these people?
So we got there. I got to this Beijing airport. It was dark.
Big picture book?
No people. It smelled moldy. Oh God, it was awful, right? And then they said they picked me up. I didn't see any white guy anywhere. So this
just in the
Chinese man walked up to me and he took my suitcases and just kind of make a gesture, follow me. I was the only white face there, right? So
this must be
God, that must be it. So we drove into town. It was all dark, and then suddenly turned around the corner and the hotel was lit. We were there, right? No, I didn't speak any Chinese, and nor there was really.
Just your telly.
Oh God. No.
Wait, it's mine.
It's you.
Way to go, Wade.
Jesus Christ. You have to put a little in it.
I'm definitely.
You cut it out.
Okay. Anyway, sorry. I'll shut that thing off. I didn't think it'd make that much noise.
Wait. Cursed technology.
I know. Okay, so you got picked up at the airport.
So then I was in China, right? A sous chef in the Jiangguo Hotel. Was the first
Django?
Jiangguo Hotel.
Okay.
And it was the first joint venture the Chinese government had with an American company. And
The first one.
First joint venture, 49 Western, 51 Chinese partnership. And we had 5 years they had 5 years to make the money back. After 5 years, the whole project went to the Chinese government.
Everybody goes in front of the firing squad.
Yeah. And then, like they do now, see how a hotel works, then we don't need you anymore, right? We do it ourselves. And better. Who knows, right? Yeah. And so we were there. I got this checked in, and there was such a demand on rooms. There was no infrastructure for business travel. Back then, there was very little tourism as such, right?
Nobody really went to China back
Nobody
then.
wanted to go, right?
Now everybody goes. Yeah.
And then, we fired up. The chef was a Swiss chef, and then there was a Swiss general manager, and then myself and another Swiss sous chef in the kitchen, and in the whole of Beijing, I think there was one more hotel, the Holiday Inn, who had a Caucasian executive chef, and that was it back then.
You guys must have all got to know each other.
Oh, we got to know each other fast over a few beers every day.
You'd always meet up for a couple of beers and
that's all you could do, right?
Yes,
there's nothing to do.
It's the only people you could talk to.
There's nothing to do. There was the only people talking, and then we had the setup was kind of, it was like a buffer crew. They were all from Hong Kong, like the next level of chefs were from Hong Kong, which were the translators and the department heads or the foremans, as you know. And the rest was just local Chinese crew. But it was a privilege to work there because it was such a unique setup at that time. So nobody had any idea about cooking. There was all kids from big shots who got the job there because of the image.
Right.
I had a locomotive engineer in my crew, right? And then suddenly you have to teach him how to
He's
make.
great at oil changes, but he can't cook. Can't cook for the shit.
God, it was a challenge.
I bet.
People, and then Thanksgiving was pretty funny. I remember that fondly. So Thanksgiving, we ordered turkey, like we ordered turkey here, right? Ordered 200 turkeys. Get on with it. So the turkey truck came. It was a gravel truck with 200 turkeys on the back.
Live.
No, they were dead and frozen.
Gobble, gobble, gobble.
They dumped them right in front of the hotel. Just dumped them. the gravel truck backed up and dumped the turkeys in
"See you
front of the
later."
that was the Chinese experience. But it was good, and I got myself a bicycle and explored the town a
A little
little bit.
apartment. Do they set you up with a place?
Oh yeah, it was nice. Living was great. 24-hour surveillance, but it was great.
They kept an eye.
There was a guy
They got
sitting-
an eye on you.
Oh, they got an eye on us,
Keep an eye on those white guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
they're
was
trouble.
not only trouble. Keeping
They could be trouble. Yeah.
no visits to the hotel room, my friend.
No outside visitors, eh? Gee whiz, eh?
And again, it was a super experience. We did some cool cooking there, and you learn again to do what you got.
Did you go back there at all after?
Never.
Never went
Unfortunately, never. No. We did once I was done. We did a bike trip, and I bicycled through China. Then from the Inner Mongolia, from the Great Wall, down to the Yangtze River, Nanjing, Shanghai, back to Hong Kong.
But Beijing's the only place you ever worked at over there?
Yeah, in China.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you didn't want to really go back there. Maybe I was too scared and too young and said, no, I don't want to. I mean, pollution was like, everybody joked, when you take a shower, turn the light off. And I said, what's that all about? Oh, you're going to see. And sure enough, it was so polluted from the coal stoves. Everything was just a haze.
Oh yeah, I've been over there. Yeah, I know what you mean.
All just a haze, right? And then coming from living in Jasper in Canada, clean air and clean living.
Cleanest air in the world.
We have
really.
no idea, right? So I was kind of, after my contract expired, I was ready to.
How long was that one? Like a year?
A year.
Oh yeah, that's a good run.
Yeah.
It's a long time to go somewhere
Yeah.
where you don't have to talk to anybody.
I didn't see much. They wouldn't. I wanted to go to Tibet and things like that, right? To travel.
They're just like
They didn't let you travel. No, they just. I think it was not much about you as a spy or whatever, right? I think they were embarrassed. Now I say that, right? Not then, but I think they were kind of maybe insecure that a white guy sees the poverty maybe.
They didn't want you to see how bad they had it.
Yeah.
They were embarrassed about their
They
situation.
were embarrassed. The poor infrastructure, right? Everything was just like,
Yeah.
It was communism back then, right? Deepest. Travel was just always difficult.
Communism, yeah.
God,
Interesting.
when we biked to China, we had always somebody follow us with the motorbike, right? With the sidecar motorbike, like Second World War set up. And so to keep an eye on us, right? Just so we don't get lost or we get eaten by somebody. I don't know what. It was just.
That's awesome.
Yeah, cooking experience. Yeah, it was great. There were some great stories about our food supplies there, and
I have some of my notes here, and I hate picking from my notes. I like to let it
go
go
ahead.
general, but we'll totally go like off topic for a little bit here. But any famous chefs you work with?
No,
Not really, eh?
not not famous like.
But how about famous?
I think
How about not like on TV or not on the magazines, but let's say the chefs know that guy is one of the best. Like in a circle of chefs.
Yes.
Did you work with some guys that were like famous?
Martin Fopp.
Okay.
He was the executive chef of the Beau Rivage in Lausanne. He was just an amazing chef. Right? Again, he didn't care about media or he didn't care about stars or all that.
Which is good, yeah.
Which is good. But he delivered an absolute stunning quality of food, right? Mm-hmm. And he cooked. Like, it was not like with some of the other chefs who did like just paperwork and menu planning and things like that, right? No contact with food. Hands-on only.
He's in the kitchen. He's feeling the heat.
Every day.
Yeah.
And in the winter, the hotel slowed down a little bit, right? But we were still open. And he would take some of our young lads and cook with him. He was a great mentor, and he wanted us to learn the trade from really the way things are done, right? Like if you order a roast chicken, let's say, simple, or pheasant or whatever it was served two ways always. Like first the chicken breast, then the legs were broken out. Like you saw that.
Because it's thicker.
Exactly.
These parts are thinner. They're going to take less time to cook. See, it's cooked first. We better eat it first.
You're a dedicated chef, right?
Well, I know. I understand a little bit.
You understand, right? Or duck is maybe a better example.
Peking duck at a Chinese restaurant. Cut it up.
Exactly.
You get
So
this
we
bit
learned
first,
how to make, and then bones were a little chopped up quickly, right? And the legs they were raw, still a little bit raw. They were broken out and then put on a grill, different cooking style grilled this time from roasting, right? And then you chopped up the carcass, the bones, and a little bit of butter and reduced it, and the sauce was made to order. And you with a little mallet, you punched it through
Proper
a strainer.
chef would never just cook a chicken and serve it.
Oh,
This bit
was
needs
just
to be cooked that way. Yeah.
he was famous and respected in the area. Like, you worked for Martin Fopp, you got the job.
You're hired.
You're hired.
Yeah.
Right. That was the.
You're one of the few.
You work, and then years later, maybe if I sidetrack a little bit, years later, I also started a internal apprenticeship with my staff back in Jasper. And because I thought young dedicated people should learn more in depth. And so we did things from again, a daily, like something I do now, right? A daily menu. But the daily menu was really the vehicle to show our young cooks new things and practice those, right? And one of the most dedicated staff I had there was a girl named Sarah Smith. And she just was eager to learn, right? And she did a 3-year apprenticeship, graduated, and we managed to send her to the Borivage Palace in Lausanne to work with Martin Fopp. And I think she was one of maybe 5 girls out of like 150 again cooks, right? And so she was sent there and worked there for like I think 6 months or something like that. I don't remember really.
It'd be like
but it was amazing, right?
It was like a rock star of
rock star.
cooking.
Yeah, he was a rock star.
All the way from Jasper.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's cool.
Good foundations, and then you learn early in life. You need all those foundations. Right?
Yeah, you need all of them.
But I was kind of a gypsy, right? And then no career, scared of a career. 10 years in the same place, no way. Like I gotta move around. I gotta move on, right?
The commitment was a little hard to accept, maybe.
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 So, yeah, that's the Asian experience, right?
Oh yeah.
So maybe came back to, go ahead.
So you're
Cooking.
You're telling me earlier on about you thought you knew everything in the world about cooking till you went to Asia.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh,
especially after the master degree in cooking, right?
Right.
And you go there, and that was the second time I went back to Asia, right? After China. China was earlier.
Yeah.
And I work in a private club in Taipei, in the Bankers Club. Again, top-notch everything. Cheese flown in from France every Thursday. Money is no option, right? Just deal with it.
Get it here.
Get it here and deal with it.
We don't want to wait.
And I thought, oh yeah, I know all this, right? I know all this and that. And the job there basically was just write the menus, right? We had a grill room, we had a coffee shop, we had a fine dining and so forth. And write all the menus every day for those outlets, and then the cooks would make it. And we had a soup cook there. And like every day was like 5-6 different daily soups, right? And all the different outlets, a different soup, right? Nothing, never overlap of anything. No chances, yeah.
Some restaurants just have chicken noodle every day.
Oh, every day, I know. I love you, man.
Oh, yeah. But who wants to have 6 or 7 soups? It's too much. It's too much.
I wrote those things, right? And my assistant was a Hong Kong chef, Coco Nip. He just gave the book back to me. He said, that's the menu? I said, it's ridiculous. What do you think we brought you here for? And I go, what? He said, this is crap. We don't serve that here.
This is totally not
It's
gonna
useless.
work.
And that was like 3 days into the job, right? Oh God. I said, okay, so books. No, there was no internet. There's no research, right? So I brought a few books and notes I had those mini binders from Switzerland, from Martin Fopp, from my mentor, from the famous chef. I had all notes and recipes and all that. Oh God, okay, here. Flip to the pages fast here. You got to move on, right? And it was a big learning experience. They put you in your spot, right? And they tested you. And every day they brought the stuff. I said, how do you want it? How do you want it cooked? What garnish you want on? Like you were
They want to know everything. It's very specific.
Very specific.
We want to know everything.
And that was a big, big challenge for me, right? To grow up and then be creative and not like having having chicken noodle today and a chicken noodle tomorrow. No, we had that already. Right? You have to come up with something new every day.
Because there's people that would come in there every day just to have soup.
Every day.
And they wanted a different one every day as a new experience.
And then I said, okay, now we attack forward here, baby.
Yeah.
So I created the things to challenge them. I said, I have to turn the spit around.
Can
here.
you do this? Yeah, you're like,
so
turn it up.
Pastry number one, because it's also my background. So I said, now every day we're going to have a French pastry tray in every outlet. Okay? So you have 6 different French pastries on it.
Yeah.
And I gave him an outline. So something with cream and something with dry and something with lemony and something chocolatey. And you write it down every night before what you're going to do, and I approve it. Oh boy, they went quiet quickly.
The crowd went quiet.
The crowd went quiet. And and we became suddenly, and then I said, you got to go out. And my secretary said, you got to go out with those guys and eat, right? So as a chef there, you were treated like big time, right? I had a nice office with a big desk, something unseen before, right? Like desk there, secretary out front, like it was like mahogany everywhere, right? It was, wow, I'm a chef here. I thought I'm a bank manager, you know. Yeah. And so my secretary said, you gotta take them out for lunch or something, right? The boys, like the key people, right? The department heads, go and eat some chicken feet or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Drink some beer and eat some stuff, right? And break the ice. I said, okay, you arrange it, right? So they took me out on the back of motorcycles. We rode out of town and got to this place, and they served us pig knuckles and I remember still pig knuckles and we had lots of beer and that was it, right? Things were a lot easier the next day.
Yeah, it gets things sorted out.
You can drink with us.
Now now you've established a relationship with somebody.
He's one of us. He's one of us.
Broke the bread, you broke the ice, all that,
That was pretty good. That one was pretty good. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good work. Good members, fun guests, right? Yeah. But they put you in your place, and then another experience was, oh God, so we had a cheese trolley. I established a cheese wagon from imported cheese, and it was wheeled out 11 o'clock and a.m. was ready to go, right? And then the staff had to know the cheese.
They had to know about it, because I'm the customer. I'm like, oh, what's this one? What's it taste?
What kind of blue cheese? A Brest Bleu, or is it a French, or blah, blah, blah? Is it from d'Ambert? Is it Gorgonzola?
They want a description.
Cow cheese, goat, sheep.
Cow, sheep,
all the things, right? And again, for me, come from Canada. Oh, we have Oka cheese, we have Emmental, we have Swiss, and that's just about.
We got orange cheese, we got white cheese. What do you want?
So the girl said, "Mr. Aumeier is explaining you today all the cheeses." I had no fucking idea. Sorry.
Oh, you're allowed to.
I had absolutely no clue. And you're standing in front of 15 waiters, 20 waiters, and all top-notch educated staff, right? Most of them probably knew all the cheese.
So they're looking at the cheese. And
they look at me and
like,
I turn
how can anybody know
I said,
that?
how do I get out of here? If I screw this up, I'm out. I'm done, right?
Where's the exit door?
So I turned around and said, Chris, if me as an executive chef have to explain that cheese to you, I think we don't need you.
I'll be so disappointed.
We don't need you. So let's see what's your level of education. Why don't you start and explain it to us, please? And she said, yes, Mr. Aumeier, yes, I'm so sorry. And I just, yes, I just watched. And I said, again, we have to change the procedure. So I phoned those guys in France. He came always out from the markets in France. I said, you guys have any stickers we can stick in the damn cheese, right? With a cow on or something. And sure, the next shipment it came, right? It had a name on it on both sides.
So that might be where it started.
That was my breakthrough.
You started stickers on cheese.
Oh, you got to win the battle, you know.
No kid.
But there was always a challenge. Yeah, it was good. It was good fun, you know. And the Taiwanese were my favorite Oriental, I have to say, my favorite Oriental people to work with. They're extremely hardworking. They're super educated.
They love food.
Taiwanese is an amazing food country. It's not known really as a tourist place.
No, not at all. But their food culture is probably one of the
top
best.
5.
Yeah,
I would say it's a top food culture. It has a lot of history to it. It has a lot of finesse to it. They're very tasty. They love their food. and they're very educated. They know what they're
The
doing.
restaurants there are open from 7
I
in the
know.
morning till 3
Oh,
in the morning. Like
Taiwan-
almost 24 hours a day,
Taiwan
right?
beef noodle soup. Oh,
Yeah.
I love it. And then, so it's a great country for food travel and for travel. It's a beautiful country. Yeah, it's a beautiful country.
I've only
And-
been there a few times just for layovers on
Oh, I
the
see.
way to like
Yeah.
Bangkok or wherever
Yeah.
I was going. But yeah,
Taiwan is nice, yeah. Good food country. Oh, yeah, so you learn and you move along, right?
Yeah.
And then I was transferred to Singapore in the same company. We had like all private clubs all over Southeast Asia. Executive private clubs for bankers, marinas, things like that. Member only. $250,000.
member only restaurants.
Yeah, no clubs, like for entertainment and for
Okay.
banquets and for business somewhere somewhere.
Kind of like the Oilman's Club in
Oh,
Calgary.
exactly.
Or the Petroleum Club.
Yeah,
Same kind of
same
idea.
idea, right? And except it was run like a hardcore business. It was not owned by the members. It was one guy who owned it, right? 250,000 down payment for a membership, right?
That's what it was for annual due. Annual dues.
No, there was a like to buy in the membership.
Yeah.
Not refundable for 25 years.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Like they cashed in, right? So then I was transferred to the Pine Tree Club in Singapore, and they made me area chef to look after all the menus and the kitchens and everywhere. And my boss was an American guy from Texas. Always came in, boots up on the desk, right? I said, "Hey, I looked at your CV, American. Yeah. You went to school, buddy." He said, "How long you want to run around in your white clothes and your white jacket? Is that something you want to do all your life?" I said, "Well, I'm thinking about getting into management eventually, right?" He said, "I got something for you, man." And then he disappeared, right? 2 weeks later, he comes back. He threw an envelope on the desk, $2,000 in it, cash. He said, buy yourself some suits. You're going to be general manager in Hong Kong next week." I said, I don't have that. How are we going to do that, right? Usually there's food and beverage and then assistant GM and then GM, right? He said, "No, we want you to be there. The owner wants you to be there.
Right, basically went right at the top.
We move everything. Well, I was area chef, then area executive chef, right? And I knew the company for a while. Right? He said, "We ship you right to Hong Kong. We take care of it." He said, "I'm going to be there. The boss is going to be there. You will do well. You take over. Buy yourself some suits and get on with it. Move." So I moved. I took the opportunity. Took the guts.
Wow.
Moved.
Singapore, or Shanghai.
Hong Kong.
Oh, Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, yeah. I stayed a couple of years there. It was tough. It was a tough job. Yeah. But again, how fast can you move up the ladder, right? And I thought that chance never comes that fast again.
No,
So
you gotta,
go for
you
it.
got to do it.
The worst thing is they ship you off to some other place, maybe.
Start all over
They
again.
screw up, and the company would keep me, right? But put me somewhere else, right?
Yeah, they'll always find somewhere
Yeah, that was
to ship
fun.
you. Did you? Was there ever any? Can you talk about? There was like kitchen staff were like crews. If it got fired or you got fired,
Yeah, we talked
they
about
all
this,
went
didn't we?
with you. They went with you, and they never.
You need a screwdriver or a
I got
pocket
one
knife.
right here. I got a nickel.
Oh, look at you go.
I know I'm handy. I'm handy that way. So if let's say you were the head chef, you had a crew. Let's say the boss comes and is like he's mad at you, he like fires your ass.
I think I told you that story.
You touched on it.
Yeah.
You got to take everybody with you to the next place.
So I was in Hong Kong general manager, and the quality of the food was not up to par, right? Hong Kong has one of the finest cuisines, right? It's like the Paris of the
Paris
the Hong
of
Kong
Asia.
cuisine is absolute top notch, right?
Yeah.
And so we run a private club there. The food is mediocre. I'm the GM. I'm in a chef.
People are getting pissed off.
People getting pissed off. 5 guests a day. You know what I mean? Like real good, real top.
You got 20 people in the kitchen.
5 guests, 3 of them were management, right? So
They brought their mom. Yeah.
So old ties come in. So the sous chef I had in Taiwan, Coco Nip, a Hong Kong Chinese, he left. He went to Australia, got his immigration in Australia, came back to Hong Kong, and he looked me up. And he was a tough cookie to deal with, right? But we became kind of friends, right? And I taught him a few things he need to know, and then to move up, right? Theoretical stuff, calculation, menu, food calculations, this kind of things he didn't know. That's where I cracked him, actually, right? I said, I teach you how to calculate. So you be a chef one day, and you have to know that, right? And you keep my back free, right? That's the deal. You keep me clean.
Yeah.
So, and he said, it's a deal. And from that day on, we were friends. I taught him all the theory under 4 eyes, so no losing face or anything, embarrassments or whatever, right? And so years later, I'm in Hong Kong, and he shows up. In the meantime, he's like kind of the mafia guy from the chefs. And he said, you can't serve that food here, right? And I said, well, I don't know. I don't know anybody here. I'm new, right? He said, I take care of it.
Don't worry.
Don't worry. We take care of it. And he came a couple of times. He said, no, you have to change both the Western kitchen and the Chinese kitchen. It's useless. I take care. Yeah, he called me a week later. Let's meet in the Marco Polo Hotel in the lobby. I have a chef for you. And we met.
I have somebody you need to meet.
Back then, I didn't really know how it all works, right? And he said, this guy can start. I organized him. He comes with his entire crew, and the old crew will go. I said, where are they going? I take care. We send them to China or something, right? The whole 15 guys or whatever.
In Canada, we say we send them to Flim Flom.
So, and he lined it all up. We printed a new menu, and on that D-Day, the old crew finished lunch at 2 p.m. Everything was thrown out.
Dinner service was ready.
Dinner service, new crew came in at 6 o'clock. We had dinner service, and and we sent out invitations and so on, and the place took off. We had a wonderful. And he came every once in a while to check, right, if food is up to par. Because I didn't really know.
Seamless transfer, just
unbelievable. You can't do it in the Western world like that. Impossible. They threw out everything. The live fish in the tanks, everything was, and it was delivered. And at 6 p.m. the door opened, and the new crew with a new menu, a new chef, and down to the dishwasher. Unbelievable. Yeah. And they respected me then, right? I was like,
well, it's like
the new boss and the new chef, and I gave him a chance, right? Yeah. And it was really good. It was a really good show. Cool. It was fun. Back then it wasn't fun, but I said, do I survive tonight? Do I stump?
Looking back, it was an unbelievable experience.
And that's how they work over there, right? Yeah. And I brought in a chef called Philippe Derrien. I worked with him in Jasper, and we always stayed in contact, and he said he's looking for a job, and I said, yeah. The Pacific Club in Hong Kong is looking for a chef. Back there, everything was very open. All the club managers knew each other. There's no competition really as such. We have competition, but we work together.
For sure.
We compare notes.
It's a great way to be.
We compare notes, we compare salaries, we compare people, and nobody get late. Like here, this guy wants to move over. Well, if he agrees to let you go, he can go, but nobody goes without approval. Yeah. So, and I knew the GM from the Pacific Club quite well. And he said, I need a top chef, right? I said, I know a guy, Philip. He's the man for you. Bring him in. So they flew him in, and he stayed, and he's still there 25 years later.
Wow.
He's working now in a different club. Yeah. And I said to Philip, don't be tough to yourself. Don't give up right away, because it's from a European to a Chinese standard. Right?
Totally different world.
Hang in there, buddy. Hang in there.
Different dimension, really.
And then he said, okay, I hang in there. And he made a nice career.
He made her.
Yeah, it's nice.
What do you think about a break? Holy guacamole.
Talk too much.
58 minutes, buddy.
Already.
All right. After a short break, we're back.
Hi.
Awesome. So there's like some rumor going around that you're something about this Rocky Mountain cuisine.
Well, yeah.
It had something to do with it. Can you touch on that?
In 93, I was hired by the Connor family to work in Banff at Buffalo Mountain Lodge and the Canadian Rocky Mountain Resorts, Emerald Lodge, and Deer Lodge, and so forth. And did a short evaluation, and the menu wasn't what I kind of pictured right back then. So, and of course, I was gung-ho coming back from high-pressure Asia, work. So
I'm going to make some big changes around here.
And we came up with the chef and so on, and as creating Canadian Rocky Mountain cuisine. Because when you have swordfish on the menu and you have a buffalo head hanging on the fireplace, that didn't go over well with my idea. And the owners also thought we should use more Canadiana, right? More local. And back then there was a pretty gutsy thing to do. Right? Everybody had exotic stuff on Mai and crocodile tail or whatever. Right? And so we went the other way. The first year I bought all the caribou available on the Canadian market, 5,500 pounds we bought.
5,500 pounds.
Yeah,
Nice.
we made it to the newspaper.
It was a personal best for everybody.
That's right. And we moved it. So we put caribou on the menu, elk, farm-raised elk, of course, salmon, local mushrooms, nuts. Of course, you can go extreme, right? You say, we don't use lemon peel or vanilla or whatever. I think that's silly. But my thing was Canada has such great basic ingredients.
Oh, for sure.
And we didn't use it. We didn't put them together. We didn't fuse them. Now you can fusion, whatever, right? Yeah. We didn't put them together. And we started the Rocky Mountain Cuisine with great success, right? It was a real good kickoff.
Excellent.
And my friend Walter von Rotz in Kenmore had a butcher shop. And of course...
Walter.
You know Walter.
Valabella Meats or whatever?
Yeah. Valabella Meats.
I know of Walter. Sorry, carry on.
So, again, since I was brought up on using everything on the whole animal, you buy elk and you buy caribou, whatever, but how you use the other products, right? And I always believed in making a nice total finish with everything. So I created the Canadian game platter. So we had duck pate on, we had elk sausages on, we had smoked boar on and things like that. And as an appetizer platter. And now, some 30 years later, it's still being served in the mountains. Still rocking. And I think it's kind of nice, you know. Yeah. That was the Rocky Mountain. And then, of course, it was eyed a little bit by, crazy German guy doing this kind of thing now, right? And the marketing director, Rosemary Enslin, we had brainstormers and we changed everything to Simple Treasures, Rocky Mountain theme and so forth. So the menus and everything. And we got invited to cook at the James Beard Foundation in New York.
Wow.
One of the first teams ever to perform out there.
Out of Canada.
Yeah. And the owners were extremely generous. So 3 chefs flew down there, 2 head waiters, F&B managers, a pastry chef from Cilantro in Calgary, and the owners. And we cooked for 100 people at the James Beard House in New York for fundraisers. James Beard Foundation is the culinary
I've heard of
highlight,
it, yeah.
right? And then we had the breakthrough, right? So big press release, and suddenly, wow, Rocky Mountain Cuisine is cool, right? And now just about everybody in Banff serves Rocky Mountain theme, right? Yeah. Bison, buffalo, the local cuisine has taken on a whole different thing now, right? Yeah, that was a fun project.
That's awesome. I know
good.
there's lots of ingredients just from right here, go 20 miles in every direction.
Exactly.
There's mint that grows.
That's right.
That no one ever, only a few farmers told me about. They're making mint jelly. There's berries. There's wild raspberries.
Yes.
There's lots of good stuff. There's mushrooms, which I don't think I've ever ate a mushroom unless I bought it at the store, but they're around.
They're around. And it was a little difficult back then to source certain things, right? Because in those last,
so it's sustainable. You can rely on
years,
having it. Yeah.
Yes. Lots of, and then people offered us we included Western Canada basically, not just Alberta, right? Western Canada, and we supported that, and I supported that, and pulled it off, and then had some chefs who really stood behind it, right? Who really liked the idea and created really cool dishes and nice dishes, and and then for those days maybe it was a little crazy, maybe too creative in some ways.
A little out there, but hey.
Yeah, root vegetables and salmon and a red wine sauce and some Saskatoons in it or whatever, let's say.
Saskatoons, but you can use those on anywhere.
Anything. Yeah, there was a very nice
Saskatoon
project.
reduction on a nice elk loin or something.
Oh boy!
How can you beat it?
Wait,
you can't.
Come on, fire up the stove.
I know.
Let's get going here.
Only if I had any Saskatoons.
So that was a big step in my life also, and a great reward that all this experience over the years, you could actually see it grow, right, and see it happening, and it still carries on. Yeah, and then you get older and you get staler and you get a little bit more looking for something more easy. And my good friend Evelyn Saplovsky I visited in 2011. We always stayed in touch over the years, right? When you had Evelyn's in Banff, she had 4 coffee shops in Banff.
Oh, that's how. Yeah, okay. That's why I've asked you a few times. Didn't you have
actually, Evelyn got me the job of the Rocky Mountain Resort company.
Yeah.
Because I got back from Asia, and she said, I didn't have a job, but we just got come back cold, right? And two guys on the street in downtown Banff said to me, friends I knew from the past, I ran into, oh, why you come back? You silly, you stay in Asia. There's no money to be made in Canada. I said, I just want to come back, lifestyle. We had a house in Kenmore and things like that, right? And then I walk into Evelyn for coffee, and she said, oh, yeah, that's good timing, she said, because the general manager on Buffalo Mountain Lodge just got, either he left or he got let go, or I don't remember the detail, right? But that position is open.
Up there, yeah.
And I called up Pat O'Connor, the owner, on the same day. And he said, Wednesday, come in for an interview. So we had the interview. And he said to me, do you have a car? Because you have to drive a lot between the lodges. I said, well, I don't have a car right now because I want to lay low right now. Right? And he said,
you should rent me like a new Corvette or something.
Get yourself a car, he said. Get yourself a car and I'll see you Friday. You got the job. Wow, that was amazing. Right?
There's always a stipulation. You needed a new suit, new car, do something.
Something.
They always give you...
It was great.
Envelope full of money. Okay, let's go.
And he said, I need support up there. That's the ideas I have. Local cuisine, local ingredients. We have those wonderful lodges, but I don't really have somebody who is implementing it, right?
Yeah.
And I was always good in not just 99% an idea. I make it happen. If I have the idea, I bite in like a bull terrier. I make it happen.
Make it happen.
We do it.
It's not that easy.
No.
It's not that easy to find.
You need staff.
It's not that easy to find the personalities that can actually get it done. I find that.
And find great people to be behind you in staff, right? They make it, right? You're alone, it doesn't happen.
Without the staff, you're not going to get anything done because you can't do it all.
And then,
as hard as you try, you can't get it. You can't do it all yourself.
That's right. It's a fact. Yeah. My mentor said once to me, one of my mentors, because he let one of the sous chefs go, one of the most important sous chefs, right? I said, why is he gone? He said, remember one thing, Mr. Aumeier. You can win the war with all the soldiers, but the general alone can't win the war. So I let the general go.
Oh, the general had to
because I have very good soldiers.
Yeah.
And that stuck with me. It's a very good point.
It's a good one.
It's a good one, right? I remember that.
The general had to go.
Make the gutsy move and don't protect the one who causes all the... Just because he's in that high position, right? Yeah. He let him go because he said, I have good soldiers out there. I'm going to work with you guys. The owner.
That may be...
was good.
That's a valuable lesson right there.
It was a valuable lesson, a big eye-opener. When you're
time.
21 or something, right?
It's hard to even comprehend when you're that young. But you must have, yeah.
Well, and then I was kind of, had a few jobs in between, and then you get over 50 and you become a little bit outdated on certain things perhaps, right? And visiting Evelyn in 2011, and she said, we'd like to sell the shop and in High River, and we like to retire, but we don't find anybody really who carries on our idea of hospitality.
They want to keep up that...
Making the chickens.
Keep up those core values.
That's right. Handmade things, fresh cooked stuff, not just bologna chicken, right, and things like that. And I said, it's exactly what I'm looking for, right? It's exactly what I'm looking for. It's perfect for me. Let's make the deal.
I can tell when I'm down there that it's perfect.
I love it. Yeah. And a lot of people say, why you come from a big corporation and you work for, do this little shop here, right? And it's actually, I love it. I think it's the best thing in my life I've done. It was the right timing, and I have fun doing it. We can be very creative as much as we want. We have amazing customers there. It's like one big family coming for lunch.
People love that place, man.
I got great girls working for me. I love it. I love it every day. I go in there, I work 6 days a week. I don't mind it, and it's just a big fun, right? Of course, there's rainy days, and but we have actually a wonderful following. We have a great following.
If it's not that, if it's a slow day, I'm sure there's lots of other things you got to do, right?
That's right. No, and the customers make it too, right?
Yeah.
They support it in a way that and coming and trying new things sometimes, right? Yeah.
You got to have that support from the customers, or else you can't be there.
Yeah, it's great.
That's the way it works.
We love to be in High River.
Okay, buddy.
You see the mountains in the horizon. Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Yeah, it's a great community we live in. There's no question. I love it here. Can't get enough of it.
Customers like you make it go.
We try our best. I try to come down as much as I can. Thanks, buddy. That's a wrap. Thank you very much. It was awesome to learn.
I hope I'll be here for a while.
It was awesome to learn about...
Be a while in High River.
Yeah. It was awesome to learn about your journey of becoming a a master chef, and the journey after that too.
And you
so.
know, it's how should I say? We have a fairly simple fare there, right? In the shop.
Yeah.
But a lot of the things are valid. I learned years ago.
Yeah.
In the way we efficiently cook or we bake or we do certain things, right? Just adjust it to the situation.
Yeah.
But a lot of things came in very handy. Right?
Oh, for sure. And you can make a buck at it too, right?
Oh,
Because you can't work for free. Can't work for free. Okay, thanks again.
Thanks a lot, Wade. It was a pleasure.
Awesome, buddy. Thanks.